I believe demons are trapped in this plane or dimension just as humans are, bound by the laws of time and space. And how frustrating for beings that could once ascend into heaven, where God and angels exist, without the constraint of time. God is at once present at the moment of your birth and at the moment of your death. God can see these events simultaneously. Apollyon. Who is Apollyon? Angel B44 Studios presents How Demons Affect Human Behavior, Part 4. Apollyon, the Aryan Sun King. Jesus warned us that Apollo is the king of hell. Apollyon, the sun god, Sig Heil actually means hail to the sun. On the left is a photo of a statue of Apollo, and on the right is the Freemason designed Statue of Liberty. Apollyon, the Greek name meaning destroyer, is given in Revelations 9:11. Who is this guy? The king of the demonic locusts, described in Revelation 9:3-10. In one manuscript, instead of Apollyon, the text reads Apollo, the Greek god of death and pestilence, as well as the sun, music, poetry, crops, herds, and medicine. Let's take a look at his oracle, the Oracle of Delphi. This is in Greece. Apollo's origins, perhaps Oriental, are quite uncertain. His name yields no convincing Greek etymology, although he became the most thoroughly Greek of all gods with time. A remarkable feature of this cult was the way of giving oracles, especially at Delphi, to possess the priestess and speak through her mouth, reminiscent of Siberian Aryan shamanism. So what? No one worships the sun today anyway. Why all this concern about some ancient Greek or Aryan cult? Could it in fact be hidden in plain sight? You won't learn this on the History Channel, but who used to worship the sun god? It was the ancient Aryans, the cult that Adolf Hitler tried so hard to revive in Germany 70 years ago. The blue-eyed Aryans. These are photos of the cult, the Aryan cult. They practice something called VRIL. I have experienced for myself what VRIL is, and it's very, very powerful and it's very potent. The Nazi SS actually had witchcraft involved, female witches that were Aryan witches who practiced VRIL. Here is a Nazi leader in the SS, you can see the flag, in Tibet. I understand that 300 dead Tibetans were found in Nazi Germany at the end of the war. So what were the Nazis doing with Tibetans, with Tibetan monks? What did that mean? What went on? And what does that have to do with Apollyon? Alone among the 12 Olympians, Apollo was venerated among the Hyperborean race, or the Aryans. The Aryan race ultimately can trace its origins to the Arctic regions, where there once existed a golden age of civilization called Thule, or Hyperborea. Apollo, the sun god, would remain in the skies for 6 months with no light. That happens at the poles, thus the worship of the sun. The 2nd century AD philosopher Heracles equated the Hyperboreans with the Scythians and their origins as located in the Ural Mountains of Russia. Clement of Alexandria, a famous Christian writer, and other Christian scholars as well, made the same Aryan connection to the Ural Mountains. The Ural Mountains are in Russia. Hitler believed they came from Atlantis, one of the 10 families of Poseidon that escaped the flood of Noah, that practiced VRIL. In Russia today, they are uncovering evidence of the ancient Aryans. Russians are uncovering huge megalithic structures and even pyramids. Vladimir Putin himself has visited these sites. And what would attract a guy like Putin to look at ancient pyramids and megaliths? When Putin attacked the Ukraine a few years ago, his army swept around to the state of Crimea and they took it over because they had discovered 7 underground pyramids, and they discovered several submarine bases as well that had been abandoned by the Soviet Union. He returned these Soviet submarine bases as well as the pyramids and what they contained to Russia. Most of the photos of these pyramids have been pulled off the internet, and information is now scarce. And I do recall posting a photo of a king's chamber that was discovered before the media control stepped in. The Aryans migrated from the area of Russia, both east, west, and south. Watch the video about the ancient Ural Mountain megaliths sometime. Google it. They were destroyed. Massive stone structures melted with great heat and pockmarked with sulfur, just the way Sodom and Gomorrah was. The Aryans had built 2,500 miles of underground tunnels like this that would stretch from Russia to Paris if they were put end to end, and they're totally unexplored. No one knows why they were built, and the media tries to cover this up. What great battle did these Aryans fight? And against whom? Did they battle for Apollyon? Hitler practiced these dark arts, the attainment of VRIL and demons to wield great technology. This is making a comeback today, but disguised as a positive socialism against the tyranny of conservative Christianity. Here's an example. I posted this image of a handsome Mexican immigrant on Facebook wanting to enter the United States. This is a TV commercial. Every female liberal I know attacked me. In the commercial, an LGBT crowd dressed in pink breaks a hole in the wall into the United States to let him in. But what is the symbol on his chest? And here's that same symbol on the floor of the German SS during World War II. It's a witch's circle. It represents the black sun worship of Apollyon. The SS would use this circle as protection while conjuring the spirit world. Slovaks call it a symbol of luck. They also call the swastika a symbol of luck. But it's not. In India, the Aryans created the caste system. They arrived in India just before the great epic battle poems, the ancient Sanskrit epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. The white and blue-skinned Aryans, Nephilim demigods such as Krishna. Gita and the birth of occult Hinduism and the teachings of the chakra system and Kundalini, the serpent that possesses the mind and utilizes DMT to bring visions, and demonic power. This is where the Nazis got their technology. What do the ancient texts say about Vishnu? He is particularly associated with the light and especially with the sun. In early texts, Vishnu is not included as one of the original 7 solar gods, but in later texts he is mentioned as leading the solar gods. 2 of Vishnu's incarnations, and he has 7, Rama and Krishna, are also the subject of the epic stories Ramayana and Mahabharata. These epic poems from India detail the demonic underworld and caverns, and a hierarchy of demons on and under the earth. We'll see this lion character come up soon. The cat or lion-headed soldier demigod is carried into Egyptian culture as well and represents the sun worship. Sun and lion and serpent. Satan standing around the sun and guiding his beast. We'll see this over and over in imagery from all over the world. The serpent and the sun. The black sun. I always assumed from Freemason writing that the Kabbalah originated with King Solomon. King Solomon, they teach, commanded demons to help build his magnificent temple. But that doesn't make sense, since Kabbalistic teachings existed in ancient Egypt in the time of Joseph and Moses. Recall the magicians? So where does VRIL and Kabbalah come from? What if Plato and Hitler were correct? What if one of the semi-divine Nephilim families of Poseidon, a fallen angel, who are said to have possessed the gift of VRIL, actually survived the flood of Noah? Underground maybe? Maybe in the Ural Mountains? This next writing is taken from Plato. I have before remarked in speaking of the allotments of the gods that they distributed the whole earth into portions differing in extent and made for themselves temples and instituted sacrifices. And Poseidon, receiving for his lot the island of Atlantis, begat children by a mortal woman, and settled them in a part of the island which I will describe, looking toward the sea. But in the center of the whole island there was a plain which is said to have been the fairest of all plains, and very fertile. He also begat and brought up 5 pairs of twin male children, and dividing the island of Atlantis into 10 portions, he gave to the firstborn of the eldest pair his mother's dwelling, and the surrounding allotment, which was the largest and the best, and made him king over the rest. And the others he made princes, and gave them rule over many men, and a large territory. And he named them all. The eldest, who was the first king, he named Atlas, and after him the whole island and the ocean were called the Atlantic. Ancient Persian Empire sun god. Notice the sun on moon over his head, which appears again and again in Egypt. Here again, the lion and the sun. And here is Mitra or Mithra, the Persian god or goddess of the sun. This is a map of the incredible Aryan migration. Hitler knew their occult power of VRIL. He believed they escaped from the great flood of Atlantis and founded the Persian Empire, the Indian ruling class, and Egyptian pyramids. Here then again, the Aryan Sun worship, the Nazi symbol for the black sun. Blue-eyed natives of Afghanistan, blue-eyed natives of Iran, blue-eyed natives of Pakistan, and even India. The Aryans moved across the east and the west. These blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans migrated to India and Egypt, carrying their occult magic, which became Hinduism and the Kabbalah. VRIL and the Kabbalah are the same. Here's a quote from Darius. "I am Darius, great king and king of kings, the king of many countries and many people. Persian, the son of a Persian. Aryan, from the Aryan race, 500 BC, Persia or Iran." Aryan sun god worship in Iran or ancient Persia. Here we've got the swastika, the Navajos, Poland, Tibet, Peru, Korea, Iran, Japan. It moved into Ethiopia, the Basques, Israel. They all had swastikas. This was sun god worship. This is Apollyon. The Aryan sorcerers follow as the ancient Apollyon, the sun god, spread blue eyes and white skin throughout the East. It's recorded in literature, and it's recorded in their statues. This looks German. It looks German, socialist, Nazi, but this is in fact the Aryan race invasion of ancient Egypt. This is an Egyptian piece. This was long before Alexander. Tutankhamun. His male lineage DNA is 99.6% a match with Western Y chromosomes. Tutankhamun was a white male, blonde with blue eyes. So then, how did Zionists become involved in Kabbalah, or practice of VRIL Gnostic witchcraft? When Jesus died and the temple in Jerusalem exploded, the Romans forced the Jewish people into permanent exile. So they moved back to Babylon, to the established Jews whose population was already greater than that of Israel from their earlier exile. They in fact mixed the Hebrew culture with the pagan sun worship established by the ancient Aryans. This movement is the foundation for atheist communism and much of modern socialism and physics today, and scientism. So when Zionist culture began to invade post-World War Germany, Hitler writes about this in Mein Kampf, it is ironic that Adolf Hitler chose to model Germany after the ancient Aryan culture. Hitler claimed that Zionist theater was introducing homosexuality and atheism into German Christian culture, and this was his way of fighting back. I learned this from a rabbi, by the way. Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who will enter through it. For the gate is small, and the way is narrow that leads to life, and there are few who find it. Matthew 7:13. Jesus Christ said this. Apollo in America. Hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. Job 26:6. Destruction and death say, we have heard the fame thereof with our ears. Job 28. Hell and destruction are before the Lord. How much more than the hearts of the children of men? Proverbs 15:11. Where exactly is the bottomless pit? Is it on land, or is it in the depths of the sea? Or Is it in outer space? Or perhaps it's another dimension? And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollo. Jesus, Revelation 9:11. World War II was also a deep spiritual battle. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians 6:12. World War II was fought over the attainment of VRIL. So, what is VRIL and the Thule Society? What power did Hitler's VRIL witches have, and what effect upon the Third Reich? Hitler's power was not natural. I spoke with an old German man in Frankfurt once. He told me that John F. Kennedy had charisma. He said that it reminded him a lot of Adolf Hitler. That when he spoke, he was compelled to follow Hitler, and he knew not why. I also met a witch from Hungary who showed me what VRIL really means. I experienced VRIL, the journey to the Black Sun. This is the Sun King. This is what Apollyon is all about. It's the same as the Kabbalah, which is the same as the Indian chakra system. It's all the same thing. The human body is confined in an electromagnetic straitjacket. You can thank Lucifer for that. You are in fact a hydraulic battery, and the Earth's magnetic core and energy passes through you, as well as the Sun's electromagnetic energy. If you practice yoga or are awakened, the serpent spirit Kundalini will invade your body and rise up the chakra system and into your brain, into your pineal gland, and there it takes control. It's considered the Holy of Holies. This powerful spirit brings great power. You may experience Tantra, your sexual energy will be focused, and you will feel like a god. I have experienced this myself. This is the tree of knowledge, not the tree of life. It is Lucifer and Luciferian. Only baptism in the Spirit of God will seal you from this spirit and from the torment of hell. This is the Antichrist spirit behind Zionist communism and Aryan socialism, behind Karl Marx, Stalin, and Hitler. No man controls it. It devours everyone, even the greatest sorcerer. Revelation 17:12 says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings." Remember Atlantis. which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Apollo awakens. Apollo is awakening. Remember, he said, the devil chooses the weakest moment and the weakest place. That's where he plants his seeds and that's where he attacks. Alright folks, this ends part 4 in the series. Apollyon, the Aryan Sun God. How demons affect human behavior. Angel B44 Studios, 2017. God bless you all. And remember, Jesus loves you. Take care.